Melissa? I guess you want to. Melissa?
I'm here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you do the roll call, is that before the pledge or after the pledge?
It should be before the pledge.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, David.
Eric, how are you?
This is a familiar face. Some of these folks, except I have my early morning face on today.
Yeah, early morning face. Well, I'm doubled up. I got a cup of water and a cup of coffee.
Good.
Okay, it's a little bit past 9. I think everybody's here. Do we want to get started?
Sure. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. It's great to see everybody's shiny face this morning. I'd like to call the regular board meeting to order. It's a little after 9 on Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. Let me see. With that, I would like to ask Director Kearns if he could lead us in the pledge, and if the rest of us could say the pledge, of course, but just make sure your mic is muted, and that way we'll get a clear Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so with that, take it, Director Kearns.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whoops, I went away. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Director Kearns. All right, Melissa, would you like to do the roll call?
Yes. Director Balin?
Here.
Director Boatwright?
Here.
Director Kearns?
Here.
Director Murphy?
Here.
Director Ringen?
Here.
Great. Okay, we're all here. Thank you. And welcome to our guests as well. Okay, with that, I'll open it up to the public forum. We would like to welcome the members of the public who have taken the time to attend this meeting and provide comments on matters related to district business. Any member of the public may address the board relating to any matter within the board's jurisdiction. This need not be related to any item on the agenda. However, the board cannot act on an item unless it was noticed on the agenda. Persons speaking during the public comment will be limited to 5 minutes, or depending on the number of persons wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all members of the public the opportunity to address the board. All right, and with that, Corey, would there be any member of the public that would like to address the board?
Not that is being indicated at this moment, no.
Okay, thank you. Then I will close off the public comment and bring it back to the board business. So we've got item number 2, the consent calendar. Melissa, you want to read those?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 1, minutes of the regular board meeting of January 26, 2021. And item number 2, approval of reimbursement claims for director's statement of meetings attended and/or travel expenses, claim summary, and general manager requisition approval report for January 2021.
Thank you. Is there any member of the board that would like to pull either one or both of these agenda items? Director Ringen, which one?
I'd like to pull the claim summary, please.
Okay. Ready? Would you like to make a motion to approve the minutes then?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Director Kern seconded it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oh, Melissa, I'm sorry. Do we want a roll call on that?
Yes, we'll do a roll call vote, a verbal roll call vote for that. Okay, Director Balin,
Aye.
Director Boatright,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Aye.
Director Ringen.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, Director Ringen, go ahead, please.
Okay, I have a short list this morning. And I'm going to run them all together because they're all basically the same, or at least the first few are. On page 1 is Anchor QEA LLC for about $15,500. On page 6 is Condor Earth for $3,315. Also, there's contractor compliance and monitoring for another $5,600 and some odd dollars. And on page 10 is Horizon Water and Environment. All these pertain to Phoenix Lake project. I'm assuming that's the way it looks. I don't know what they're for, but I don't know. I would just feels like we're spending money like crazy on consultants and inspectors and things like that. And I'm not sure I understand that at all. I mean, all we're doing is dredging out the reservoir and moving the dirt and putting a path for the water coming in. I don't. It just seems like there's a lot of money going out on things that's not getting anything done, and it really irks me that only about half that project's being done.
Thank you, Director Ringen. Would any staff like to comment on some of those expenses?
This is Eric Johnson, District Engineer. I'm happy to provide a little background. This has come up in the past. Anchor, Condor, and Contractor Compliance and Monitoring, Inc. all fulfill very specific roles in the project. I know it seems like it should be easier, but unfortunately, there's a lot of expenses associated with monitoring that go well beyond the construction term of the contract. Anchor is finishing up their work that they actually have a sub, which is Horizon. The Horizon item that you listed was not for Phoenix. It was actually for the Phoenix Dam, which is a totally separate project. But Anchor should be finishing up their work very soon. Under them is Horizon. And in addition, Condor has been out doing weekly inspections, especially during the rain events for the erosion control. There's a number of issues out there that we're trying to resolve with hydroseeding and germination to make sure we're in compliance with the State Water Board. And then CCMI they're a labor compliance specialist, and the contractor has to submit certified payrolls to the Department of Industrial Relations. Those are reviewed by CCMI. There's some outstanding issues related to compliance with those that we're trying to resolve. So that's the scope of those three. And then, like I said, Horizon is related to a totally separate Phoenix Dam project, which is not related to the Phoenix Lake Preservation Restoration Project.
Okay, well, thank you for that explanation. It just, I don't know, for a project that was fully funded and for some time now, and to only have about half of it being actually accomplished, it really does bother me. Then on, I asked this last month, I guess I gotta ask it again this month. Page 12 is John Mills, and nearly $15,000, $1,500. What is Mr. Mills providing to the ratepayer for this kind of money? I don't understand. And I asked that these sort of expenses be included in the general manager's requisition approval report. And I see that once again, in order to find these expenses, you have to go through the entire claim summary to find it.
Well, the GM approved are in a GM report in this claim summary. We've talked about John Mills before. He's providing some strategic technical assistance with regard to the United States Bureau of Reclamation, Central Valley Project, New Maloney's water supply contract. That is going to be a multi-year complex effort involving not only negotiating the contract, but developing a water needs assessment, also the CEQA NEPA compliance and intergovernmental relations. You know, as I've pointed out in previous presentations to the board, TUD is in a very unique position where we are literally the last entity in the nation that can enter into a CVP contract with the United States Bureau of Reclamation. It's an enviable position to be in, but at the same time, it's a lot of work. John Mills was involved in previous work on the American River, seeking a CVP water supply contract. So he has expertise and experience in this area. He's uniquely qualified here, being a resident of Tuolumne County, having worked extensively with TUD in the past, as well as USBR, as I mentioned. And so he does have some very unique talents and expertise, specifically as it relates to CVP. I thought he was a good addition to the team. We're trying to very carefully exercise his time, cognizant that he has to bring value to the ratepayers, and I think he has. But I am working with him very closely to limit the time, make sure that what we do get from John Mills is quality work that benefits the ratepayers. That's not a lot of money. I know it may sound like it to some, but we are being very careful with it, Director Ringen, and I think he does bring value. We have a presentation on the 18th with regard to the USBR effort. I think he, in the years ahead, will more than pay for the money that we've paid him in terms of how we bring back a product to our ratepayers in terms of a diversified water supply source and point of diversion. We could save potentially millions of dollars. And I think it's well worth spending a little bit of money for some sage advice to make sure we have the best strategy moving forward. And I just want to underline, we are being very careful. I understand the concern regarding the use of consultants, but TUD's staff is involved in quite a wide range of complex processes and efforts. And some of these consultants are exercised strategically for their expertise to be an extension of staff. And I think we develop a quality product for our ratepayers.
Well, I will definitely be looking forward to the 18th because, you know, it just seems like that's like a black hole that we just keep throwing money in, and we never see any final product or progress report, really. I mean, a positive, good progress report. So that's why I get so concerned. It just seems like they're just throwing money at it.
Understood. And it's going to be like the PG&E negotiations and acquisition, USBR. These are going to be multi-year complex efforts. And just like Phoenix Lake and any of these complex projects, there are 1,000 I's to dot and 1,000 T's to cross. There are so many regulations that we have to navigate. We need to be very careful and strategic to minimize the overall cost impact associated with all of these efforts. And we need certain unique talent and expertise. John just happens to be specific to the USBR New Maloney's effort. That's the only thing he's working on. And we exercise it very carefully for very specific meetings or a very specific product.
Okay, well,
Ed,
thank you.
excuse me, Director Ringen. Ed, in the past, general managers have gotten monthly progress reports from John. Are you getting monthly progress reports?
We are, and I have some written products, but we haven't really gotten too far into this New Maloney's effort yet. We actually have not formally begun the basis of negotiation, which is one of the three-legged stool of products we're going to have to develop. So most of the effort we've been working on right now is working on a strategy on how to move forward and mostly process. There has been a limited amount of work product that we can say, yes, we accomplished the basis of negotiation. Yes, we've accomplished the CEQA NEPA. Yes, we've accomplished the water needs assessment. We're still on the pre-planning stages and talking to the tribes, talking to the Bureau to see how this coalition, if there is one, is going to move forward, and how are we going to shape the water needs assessment. And the water needs assessment is going to help shape what level the CEQA NEPA documents analysis is going to occur at. So there's, depending on the scope of the CEQA NEPA, there's a lot of money involved. We're trying to minimize that cost impact by being careful about strategizing in our pre-planning so that we have a clear path forward to minimize the cost outlay by these various consultants. So right now it's been mostly process. So the monthly report, basically, yes, our internal team with our general counsel has met several times, but that's basically the monthly progress report. It's not a discrete product where we could say, we need you to write a water needs assessment, or we need you to do X or do Y. We haven't reached that point yet. So it's been mostly process and developing a strategy. But I am monitoring it very carefully.
Well, that's it for me. If you want me to make a motion to accept the claim summary, I can.
We have Director Ringen, hang on for a minute. Director Boatwright.
I have a couple of questions too. I think it may be directed to Mr. Perkins. Condor Earth, the PFAS sampling and geotracker management. That was a unfunded state mandate that came up about maybe 8 months ago at this point in time. I was wondering if during the first sampling, if any results were found.
Good question. You're absolutely right. As far as an unfunded mandate, it's been coming down the pipe for probably a couple of years now. It's finally hit us, and we're actually doing the sampling and the analysis and the monitoring. I don't know that it came up with any results that I'm aware of just yet, David. Director Boatwright.
All right, thank you.
But I'll look into it for you.
And then one other question. We have the watch program listed, which is the landscape management for the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant. But it's listed as a $10. I was wondering, are we still utilizing the watch program there, or is that a typo?
David, are you referring to page 21 watch program? I see $510. That's the monthly amount, I believe.
Maybe I misread it then. Let's see, page 20. I've lost it. Yeah, the watch Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I must not have been wearing my glasses and that 5 looked like a dollar sign. I apologize for that. Thank you.
I have a question. I think, Steve, I think this is for you, claim summary. And I just need some clarification for the director's monthly statements. I noticed that Coffin Rucker is still on there. And I just wanted to know how that works for running our running balance. I understand probably Director Murphy is not on there. Director Boatwright is because he turned in his meetings invoice. So just to clarify that, please.
Sure. Good question, Director Balin. You know, when I went to do it this month, obviously we have a change in directors. This report, when it came to be, was under General Manager Interim Dave Andrus 1.0 or whatever that was. And the idea was this would be a summary through the end of the fiscal year. So basically what we're showing at the top is fiscal year 2021. So if we want to continue with that presentation, there's obviously going to be some old former board members and new board members. I wasn't sure, you know, a calendar year doesn't really make a lot of sense for us. We could just go to the present board members, but then that doesn't really represent to the community what we've spent for this fiscal year. So typically what we've done over the past several years is just run this up through June 30th, and then it will start anew. Hopefully that makes sense or answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And I do have to say that some of the reason board members ask questions also is for public edification. So I really appreciate your explanation. Yeah,
and I'll
thank
tag
you.
on to it also is that, you know, we used to show every single claims submission for meetings attended, and it just kind of got unwieldy. So what we've done is the meetings attended are just for that particular month. So if anyone was interested where a former board member's time was, they could go back to that board meeting when this month is approved, rather than show, you know, the dozens of separate timesheets, just as a clarification.
And any member of the public can access that. That's always the first meeting of the month that we do the claim summary, correct?
Correct. And then on Granicus, you just go to the agenda and you can click on the agenda item, and they're going to have exactly what you have in your board packet.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no further questions. Okay, any member of the public? Corey, have any comments on the claim summary?
Not as being indicated at this moment, no.
Okay, thank you, Corey. Then I will close that part and bring it back for a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve the claim summary.
Thank you, David, or Director Boatwright. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Director Ringen. It's been moved and seconded. And Melissa, shall you do, how about a roll call then?
Okay, Director Balin,
Aye.
Director Boatwright,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Murphy, Director Murphy,
She's muted.
Aye.
thank you. Director Ringen,
Yes.
okay, motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Would you like to state the regular business, please?
Okay, item number 3, consider authorizing the general manager to execute an agreement for resident project representative services with Mountaineering Engineering for the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility project.
Thank you. So would there be, Ed, would you like to take this or staff introduce this item, please?
I'll go ahead and take it. Jennifer Batt, Associate Engineer with the district. Yeah, so this position that, well, it's not a position, this agreement that we'd like to get executed is for we're calling it a resident project representative. That's kind of USDA fancy speak for a construction inspector. So this person would be taking daily reports, photos, taking in RFIs and submittals and things like that. So on December 2nd of 2020, we issued a request for proposals and we received back 8 proposals. We went through the proposals and ranked them based on criteria that was available in the RFP, so they knew what they were being ranked on. And we ended up interviewing 3 of the firms, and part of the reason we selected these 3 firms was because their proposals were well done, but also because they had representatives that lived closer. There were some good proposals that were a little bit more expensive, and then you add per diem on top of that, it just ended up being outside of our budget. So we interviewed 3 that we felt would be a good fit for the project and also fit our budget. And we ended up selecting Mountaineering Engineering for the work, to do the work. The item went to the committee yesterday, the wastewater committee yesterday. Director Murphy deferred to Director Boatwright, who recommended that we bring the item to the board today. The proposal was brought to PACE, which is our design engineer on this project, and they have conferred that they would appreciate us using them, and also they've been approved by the USDA. So the USDA will be funding this portion of the project.
Thank you. Yes, Director Kearns.
So Jennifer, this is required. This is a required piece of our USDA funding. Is that what this is?
Correct. So USDA wanted to get a combination of the engineer and the project representative together, but PACE didn't offer the resident project representative service. So we peeled it out. We kept the requirements the same, and we flew it as an RFP out. And so they're kind of separate from PACE, but they're also working with PACE and the district. So it's a little different than I think what USDA wanted, but they like this arrangement.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Big picture is the board is aware, we have the contract offer for funding the grant and loan with USDA that came with a letter of conditions. And that letter of conditions, Eric and Jennifer have been working, as well as Steve, because it's technical as well as financial. They've been working through those conditions, which probably sum to over 50 over the last number of months. The RPR, or the construction inspector, is a condition that USDA requires for TUD to be able to even move forward toward issuing any of the financial elements of this grant loan package, as well as issuing the construction contractor RFP. So to even move forward, we have to have this RPR on board. It was already in the queue as far as getting this project to move forward. In working with President Balin, we created the committees, and it became a timing issue. So we brought it to the wastewater committee yesterday. Both Director Boatwright and Murphy heard a presentation by staff. I believe we had other board members on the committee listening as well. So we worked through the need and value here. The committee recommended this RPR contract and to bring it before the board for consideration to approve. With the board approval, this will execute one of the last conditions necessary for TUD to be able to move forward with the next steps, which time-wise we're hoping to do expeditiously, because on a project like this, it's a fairly significant construction project, and the time to get it out for bid is usually December, January, if you want to get a really good competitive bid. We're starting to get a little late for construction contractors interested to be able to compete. And we've, to address that, I know that Pace Engineering has been very energetic and a leader here, as well as Eric Johnson have been out there letting some of these really good candidates for construction contractor know that this job is coming. But we need to get through this step, as well as to get the authorization from USDA to be able to issue the request for proposal for construction for the contractor construction piece. That's the big one. That will come before the board soon. And I believe Eric is slating March timeframe, with the earliest potential groundbreaking being in the May, June 21 timeframe. And it's estimated to be about a 2-year project. So we're hoping to have this project done and the ribbon cutting for fall 22. That would be the good timeline. It's possible. We can't predict everything. It could slip into 23, but we hope to do the ribbon cutting with this board in the fall of 22 with the new facility.
Thank you, Ed. Director Boatwright?
Yes, I have a couple of comments. As this came through the wastewater committee, it's definitely on a fast track. Many questions were asked, and I feel that through the interview process that the staff, as well as operations and Pace, did due diligence as far as selecting the mountaineering engineering company for the RPR.
Thank you, Director Boatwright. Director Murphy, do you have anything to chime in from the committee?
No, I'm going to just go with what David is representing. I had a couple of red flags about things, and the questions were answered in the committee meeting. And I think that David Director Boatwright has a much deeper understanding of these projects than I do. So I'm deferring to him on this decision.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments or questions from the board before I open it up to the public? Okay, seeing none. Corey, any member of the public wish to comment?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, then I'll close off public comment, bring it back. I have one quick question for refresh my memory, how many sewer customers will this serve? Now, I'm not counting septage, just how many, including Twain Harte? What's our customer base on this?
I'm not exactly sure of the numbers. Maybe Eric can jump in there, but it will be all of our customers.
Okay, so that's what, 6,000-ish?
6,000 direct connections approximately. I think it might be in the ops report, and Steve may have more current information, but let's just say 6,000 direct connections. But one of those direct connections is Twain Harte Community Services District, which has approximately 1,400. So, you have to add that on, and there are a few others that are like apartment complexes. And so we're above 8,000 when you add everything together.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Good. All right, any other further discussion before we bring it up for a vote? Okay, seeing none, then I'll ask for a motion.
I would make a motion that the board approve the approve the general manager signing a contract with Mountaineering Engineering for the RPR position for the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Director Kearns. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Nope. Okay. Melissa, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Director Balin?
Aye.
Director Boatwright?
Aye.
Director Kearns?
Aye.
Director Murphy?
Aye.
Director Ringen?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and thanks, committee. Good work, and thanks, Jennifer. Good work. And yeah, these are some of the hoops we have to go through, and of course, USDA wants to make sure that we're in compliance, so it's all good. All right, so that brings us to staff reports. Who wants to go first, staff?
I have none at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Well, not everyone at once here.
I don't have anything to report, but thank you.
Okay, all righty.
Nor do I, and thank you.
All right, thanks.
This
And
is-
Abby, you're on mute, so I take it you don't have.
I have nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Steve?
Likewise, business as usual. We're plugging away. Thank you for the opportunity.
Good, thank you. See, did I miss anybody? All right. Well, thanks y'all on that one. And now we'll bring it into committee reports, directors reports, communication reports. Oh, okay, Director Boatright.
I'll go ahead and go first. From Director Boatright, the wastewater committee had its first meeting on February the 8th at 10:30. And all went smoothly with a lot of good communication back and forth. One of the items that was discussed was the RPR contract, which has just come before this board. And one of the future items that was discussed quite a bit more in depth is the pre-approval or pre-bid contract bidding process for major equipment at the Sonora Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant. A heads up for the rest of the directors, the documentation with this, it came as a shock as I opened it. It was over a 4,700 page document. Some of it is repetitive, but we discussed the major components and how the individual pieces came to top of the order for the blower assembly, the headworks assembly, the actual aeration equipment, the filtering equipment for the effluent prior to the contact chamber, and the dewatering equipment. Like I said, just a heads up that it'll be a large document to go through before a meeting that will occur on February 23rd, coming up to the board. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Boatright. Yes, Eric.
President Balin, I should have mentioned that earlier. Basically, what Director Boatright's referring to is a 4,700 page document with all of the procurement proposals that we touched on yesterday in committee. And what I promised to the committee was that we would be circulating this information well in advance of the February 23rd board meeting, in advance of the standard release date for your agenda. So ideally, later this week or possibly early next week, you should receive an email with a link to access all of those documents. Of course, we don't expect you to read all 4,700 pages, but it will include a summary table with the ranking criteria, and the document will be bookmarked or hyperlinked so that you can go specifically to the sections that you need to review in advance of the meeting. Thanks for bringing that up, Director Boatright.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the more time you can give the board, the better, because it's technical stuff. It's not, except for David, it's not a lot of our expertise, and we're looking at the higher level of, how are the sewer folks going to pay for this, et cetera. So the more lead time we can get in reading some of these, the better. So appreciate it, Eric. Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'll go next. The HR External Affairs Committee met Thursday, February 4th, Human Resources. And we had a few items on the discussion and for recommendation, which will be coming up. So just a heads up, we discussed a phone and electronics policy. And we also discussed considering the installation of a COVID compliant dais, I learned how to pronounce that, and in the boardroom that would have plexiglass and be, you know, an arc or horseshoe shaped, et cetera. So we're taking a look at some of that. So no, oh, I'm sorry, Lisa. Director Murphy, I kind of jumped the gun here. Do you want any, you are the chair of this meeting, this committee. Would you like to take the lead on this?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Sorry, I just
No worries.
running meeting manager mode. Okay.
Actually, I'll just put. I think the highlight of that is part of that cell phone and equipment policy includes stipends that'll be available for employees if their chain of command has approved use of a personal cell phone in the field for safety and work, that they will then be able to, with supervisory approval, apply for I think it's a $15 stipend for voice only, or I think it's a $35, it's $30 or $35 stipend for voice and data if that's necessary for their work in the field. And so just a heads up, and that's part of that policy.
Thank you. And let's see, excuse me.
Hey, President Bale, may I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
All committee information goes to every board member. I know we have board members that are chair and vice chair, but Melissa does send the full committee packages out to all board members. So if anyone's interested in that 4,000 plus pages of highly technical documents on those major components for the regional wastewater treatment plant, it is available via the link that was sent to wastewater committee if anyone wants to get a jump on it. What you'll miss though is the reason why staff is working through PACE and the team on why procurement and looking at these are important now. But the long and short of it is we just want to save money. But I'm sure our district engineer will get an email out to the full board so that you understand why procurement's being examined now and why it's being moved forward at this time. But I just wanted to make sure all board members know that you are sent all committee agenda, whether you're on the committee or not, so you're kept aware of what the committees are doing. And specifically to this particular issue, you do have that link available if you want to get an early start. And I'm sure you'll expect an engineer, our district engineer, to also send an email regarding some additional information on this procurement. Thanks.
Thanks, Ed. That's a really good segue into thanking staff and Melissa and everybody for making all this work. It's really busy and it's like a well-oiled machine, and making sure that everybody RSVPs in a timely manner to Melissa regarding dates. It is like herding cats, but she's doing an amazing job, as is everybody here in the staff, and I'm tracking all this. I think it's really awesome. Thank you. And on that note, Director Kearns and I will be, I'll get you in a second, Director Ringen. We will be having a finance committee meeting tomorrow. That's correct, right? Yeah.
Yes, we will. Our very first one tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and looking forward to it.
Great. Good. Yep. Okay. Any other committee reports? Yes, Director Ringen.
Okay, so on 127, attended and participated in the City of Sonora EAP group meeting. So we continue to try and find ways to save electricity and also to save water. And there are several projects we're kind of trying to wrangle around and get our arms around and try and get moving. So that's there. And then I'm really happy, President Balin, that you were forceful in getting the committees put back into place, because I attended on 2/4, I attended the Human Resources External Relations Committee meeting. And on yesterday morning, I attended the Wastewater Committee meeting, both of them as a stone. Because it would be a Brown Act violation, I cannot say anything. All I can do is take the information in. But just as I did for years prior, before the workshop mess came around, this gives me real good background for when I get to the board meeting, because I've heard it firsthand. And both of those meetings had a ton of information that was batted back and forth and got things ironed out. So I don't know. I appreciate having that ability to be able to understand what's going on. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Director Ringen. Any other directors' reports? I have a little to share, but I'll wait till I don't see any hands up. Okay. It probably came to some of you guys' attention on your sources that the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors will be having a Natural Resources Committee meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Of course, Director Kearns and I will be busy in the finances, but the agenda item that they're going to be discussing is County-wide Climate Action Plan presentation. And I think it's important as we move through the future and look at the survival and prosperity and thrivability of our community, that we sort of cross-pollinate with attending some of these committee meetings and be able to stay in tune with what's going on there as well on the county level, since it affects all of us. Certainly climate affects all of us, and TUD has so much to offer in regards to participating in reducing some of the threat of climate change in the way we manage our watershed. So I just wanted to call that to my fellow board members' attention. If anybody has plans to go to that tomorrow at 10 via Zoom, that would be a really good thing to do. And on that note.
So Barbara, I am planning on going to that.
Okay, all right. Oh, thank you, Director Murphy. Okay. And of course we can't have 3, that would not be good, but 1, perhaps 2 would be good. So thank you. Okay, and then let's see. Yes, I can announce.
Director Balin, Ron has his hand up.
Okay, I missed that. Okay. Oh, I see your hand. Okay, Director Ringen.
I also will be going to that Natural Resource Committee meeting. I've been to every single one of them for years. I am very concerned about who is at the helm of that committee now, and I think we need to watch it really, really close. So I'm going to start my day out with the Finance Committee, go as long as I can, and then I'm going to jump over to the Natural Resource Committee. We can have 3, 4, 5 board members there because it's a outside meeting. It's just that we can't, commiserate between us. So I know that there's been 3 or more in the past during important subjects on that committee. So we just have to be very, very careful about where we sit and what we discuss.
Thank you, Director Ringen. I have one more thing I'd like to add, and that is the mountain counties. We have announced that we have gotten Sierra Nevada Conservancy's director, who recently retired, Jim Branham, who has a real strong fire background from the state of California. He was selected to run and build up the capacity of the Sierra Nevada Conservancy. And for those that don't know, Sierra Nevada Conservancy is a state run organization. It's actually they receive grants, and then they are the fiscal instrument for disseminating bond money for good, solid restoration projects. They were involved in our IRWM funding. We got a $350,000 grant from them for the ditch sustainability grant, and the original Phoenix. I think that was 150,000 for the Phoenix restoration. So Jim Branham recently retired, and he's got a wealth of information, and he has agreed to be our interim director as John Kingsbury's retiring, although he will be tag teaming with Jim Branham. So it's a wonderful coup for us. It's just fantastic to have Jim with us. So we're very pleased to make that announcement, and he said yes. So that's really good news. And he's totally about integrated resource management, and that includes, what we're doing with climate change, et cetera. And the last thing I just wanted to say is that, let's see here. Yes, I sent a small report. I mean, comparatively, it's only, 25 pages, including, references to Melissa and Ed, and it's called, and it's a fire risk reduction of nature-based risk reduction for the Paradise area for the campfire. And if you guys can, in your spare time, I think it would be wonderful just to cruise through this little report, because it's not a one-size-fits-all risk reduction exercise. It's actually looking at the community and looking at the history and looking at all the assets and the recreation and the wildlife, and doing nature-based vegetation management. And I really think that it would serve us well here if we kind of looked at that, and maybe sometime we could actually host these folks that did it. Again, the Paradise folks up there came up with a plan that is not just a 5-wide line of D9 cats making a big fuel break around our community. It's much more nuanced than that, and it achieves the same objective. So at any rate, I'll be passing that out as kind of a primer as we move into I think fire, I think we can all agree, fire is our number one issue in this whole county, because the fact that we have non-renewable resources here, including our tourism. So at any rate, anything else to add before we go into closed session? Okay, so
Balin, you might mention that the Thursday workshop, just to remind everyone, or the information session on water supply availability.
Thank you, Ed. That's right. At 10 a.m. on February 11th, we will have a water availability session. I'm really looking forward to this. Ed has said that we, after this meeting, we will have a thorough understanding of how much water we have and how much water has been committed. I'm hoping that we'll have that information, and how much water we have left to commit. So this might shed light on our February 18th all electeds board meeting, which is, of course, something that's very, very, very important, that our water via contract is so limited that, it so depends on Pinecrest that, we need to really seriously look at acquiring and expanding our water portfolio for our whole district. So anyway, I hope these Thursdays will begin to shed light on the 18th. So at any rate, thank you, Ed. So with that, I will adjourn. See, Melissa, make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. We finished our staff reports and our communication reports. And so now we will adjourn only to go into closed session. And I'm going to read this, right, Melissa?
That's correct.
Okay, so under closed session, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, agency representative Ed Pattison Abby Parkon, Employee Organization, Northern California District Council of Labor's Construction, Production, and Maintenance Laborers, Local Union Number 1130. And then we will make sure that when we come out of closed session that we will report to the public. So with that, let's see, Corey, do you do your Zoom meeting voodoo?
Yep, I'll be moving the board members, general manager, and HR to closed session.
Okay, and again, I want to thank the public for attending our open meeting. Thank you. All right, so I'd like to reconvene. Thank you, you guys. Like to reconvene out of closed session, back into our open public meeting session. And, oh, I'm hearing an echo.
It's coming from TUD moderator.
Oh, okay. And I'd like to report that we have no reportable action out of closed session. And with that, I would, let's see, do I need so I hear a motion to close, to end the meeting. Is there a motion to end our meeting?
I would make a motion that we close our normal business meeting for today.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor to end today's meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.